Hey YouTube, it's Terry from Paleo Cinema Podcast. I thought I'd do a little face-to-face kind of for a reason to celebrate an anniversary. And it's a kind of an unusual anniversary. And it's one about which I don't hear people speak much on YouTube. And that is, a year ago today, I retired officially. I was working for a company called Telstra and they put my job to the Philippines. And so I became unemployed and chose to retire because we kind of worked out the numbers and we could just about afford that. Interestingly enough, I'm not bitter about the people to whom my job went. The people in the Philippines, I understand, they don't have a social safety net the way we have it here in Australia. They work very hard and they were given my job by the company for whom I worked, and they're the ones I've got an issue with. I think that corporate greed is a big issue in the world. Neoliberalism, trickle-down economics, all of those kind of things are not a positive force in our lives. So, I've got that out of the way. But I wanted to talk a little bit about what retirement means for me and my experience of it over the last 12 months. It's been an interesting 12 months. It's been a very big learning curve 12 months as well, because not defining yourself by your job was something I thought I didn't do. I didn't think I'd define myself by what I did, but I found it was a very, very large part of how I saw myself. And that is no longer there, so how do I define myself? And that's a difficult thing to kind of work out. Well, you go through a change there. Somebody told me it takes about a year to go through that change and to adjust to that, and I think I'm on the path. I'm not there. I think it's a direction rather than a destination. And that's really interesting and a useful thing. I think that constant learning and adapting to change is so important for everybody at every age. So I've done that. There have been some trips. We went to Tasmania late last year, down about 250 kilometres that way. Actually, that way. And had 2 weeks there. I went to Sydney a number of times, which is that way, to visit my mother who's in a nursing home. She has dementia and kind of had the family thing with that. And her decline's been a big part of the things I've dealt with in the past 12 months. And a shout out to my sister Linda, my brother-in-law Gavin, and my nephew Billy, who have been wonderful through all of that. And my wife Sally, who is middle-aged gamer girl on YouTube. Check out her page. I'll put a link down the bottom. So, a lot of changes there, but I wanted to talk about also the way society is at the moment. Now, there's a big thing in at least Australian media about millennials versus baby boomers such as myself. And they've got a couple of things to say about that, surprisingly enough. I'm quite opinionated, as you know. First thing is, don't define either millennials or baby boomers by the worst of us. Yes, there are baby boomers who are greedy bastards. They will buy multiple houses. They will use tax breaks to make them cheap to purchase. They will be greedy and self-centered and nasty people. They will vote for stupid people in Parliament because they think those stupid people are going to help them become wealthier and maintain the advantages they have. All of those things are true, but that isn't the life experience of most of us. I left school when I was 15. I was forced to by my father, who was physically abusive. And ever since I was 15, from the time I was 15 till I was 61, I worked. There have been times when I wasn't working, but for the most part, I worked for 45 years. And it wasn't until the last 16 years of that I had a house. We purchased a house. We purchased a cheap house fairly far out from the city, and we paid it off fortunately. We're quite lucky, and a lot of life's ups and downs are luck. Sometimes you can angle it, sometimes your attitude, sometimes your personality, sometimes getting your shit together helps. But there's a big aspect of luck in life, and that sucks. What we've got to do is make luck a less important thing in whether you do well or not in society. So there's that. And my education, of course, because I left school at 15, was mostly done by myself. Before the internet came out, in libraries, I read tons of books. I kept myself busy. I taught myself the things I wanted to know. I don't recommend that as the best option. I think that having mentors and having people who encourage you and nurture you and show you things and teach you things is so very important. But because I didn't have that, it was a bit of a difficult thing, but I'm very, very glad I did it. People who are self-educated, autodidacts, can have a righteous pride in what they do because they earned all the knowledge they have. Not just myself, but a lot of people, including very young people. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about as far as that's concerned is things are getting better in the world. We'll leave Trump aside, we'll leave all of those things which I hope are a momentary speed bump and I hope momentary moment of darkness, madness, insanity and greed that will pass. Things are getting better. When I was young, when I was a kid, there were no child services to protect us. My father could beat us up with impunity. Abuse went on in a number of ways. So, as society progresses, things do get better in some ways. Unfortunately not for everybody, and it's not spread evenly across the world by any means, or even in Australia. But things can improve, and the ability to have access to assistance is greatly increased by all sorts of things: social change, government policies allowing for stupid conservative governments who don't understand people, and also the internet. There are ways to reach out via websites like Beyond Blue here in Australia and other resources which may help in some way. But things are getting a bit better, but it's taking a bloody long time. So there's that. Now, as far as keeping busy and redefining myself, I'm defining myself as a content creator for YouTube. I've been podcasting now for, 13 years. So I define myself by that. I do a gig with ABC Radio in Darwin where once a fortnight I go on the radio and talk about movies, which is my main passion, apart from all the people I love and all those other things. And I keep myself busy. And I want to do more creative things as well. I've been learning how to edit video. Hopefully this one, I've got to stop touching my nose. Hopefully this one will edit nicely. And do some more photography. Got the good camera I've got. I've got a really nice phone camera as well, a Pixel 2 XL, and people are dissing that at the moment, but I love it. And I've got a passion for it. Now next year, fortunately, as a one-off, we're going to Japan as well. So I hope to do a lot more YouTube for the Japan trip. And I also hope to do some podcasting while I'm in Japan. We're going to Akihabara, we're staying in Shinjuku in Tokyo, we're going down to Osaka. We're going to do a trip to Hiroshima because I think you're obligated to see that. And we're going to have a great time there. So looking forward to that. So just to kind of finalize this video, I wanted to say that retirement's not a bad thing, and being made redundant from a job's not a bad thing. It opens up new opportunities, and it's scary as hell. I won't try to dismiss that. Change is scary as hell. But on the other hand, if you look at it the right way and you get any assistance you need to, and I'm seeing a psychologist to help with that as well, things can get better, things can improve, things can move on. And a shout out to people like my good friend Matt Curran, who went through the same experience and is thriving now. I'm happy for all the people who are in that circumstance, and it's a great thing. But the last thing I want to kind of finalise on is there are a lot of you out there doing it hard, and it's incredibly hard, and sometimes the world doesn't seem like a good place, and you don't think you can make it. I hope you make it. I really do. Get help if you need it. Do what you need to do to make it. What else in the world have you got better to do than to learn to thrive in this weird and wonderful place we call Earth? You've got to do that. You've really got to do that because you matter. And the things you say and the things you learn from your experiences are things you should share. There's no use knowing things unless you share it. So things will get better. We need to be a part of that. We need to stop listening to the negative people. We need to stop listening to the people who think guns are going to solve all their problems and people who think the religion's going to solve all their problems. What's going to solve all of our problems is us. Our knowledge, our heart, our guts, our minds, and our caring for each other. And if I can give one lesson to the world, it would be give a shit about other people. They matter as much as you do. And There are times when it's hard to do that. There are times when your own demons fight you on doing that. But you've got nothing better in life to do than make the world a better place. Make sure the people around you who you love feel safe and nurtured, and encourage their dreams, their heart, and most of all, their sense of humour. Because without a sense of humour, life is bloody tough. So anyway, that's it for this time around. I just thought I'd celebrate this milestone with a little bit of what I've learned in way too many birthday candles being blown out. Take care of yourselves, and I'll be back soon with some probably movie-related content. I'll see you later.